Yeah, hi there. This is tuxoch.com again. Welcome on my channel. In this little video, I want to talk about my experiences with the Lumix S9 here, which I bought as a extension alongside to the Lumix S5X here, which is sort of course my main camera and my main video camera. The reason for buying the Lumix S9 was that I had the Lumix S5 and it's still a beautiful full format camera, but the differences in the autofocus between the Lumix S5 and the S5 2X are pretty heavy, so I decided to get the Lumix S9, which is, yeah, let's say considered as a compact Lumix S5 or Lumix S5 2X. It's got the same sensor, of course, and essentially the same video capabilities. So in the video area, it supports open gate. However, to respect the price difference between those two cameras, you have to consider that most codecs in the Lumix S9 are limited to long GOP, while the S5 2X also offers all AI codecs, which certainly result in larger files. No comparison is necessary in the photography section because it's the same sensor and you have the same capabilities, a 24 megapixel sensor, and makes beautiful pictures just like the S5 2X and of course the S5, which I meanwhile sold. There are, of course, two drawbacks on that camera. The first one is the missing mechanical shutter, and of course, the lack of a viewfinder. While the lack of a mechanical shutter isn't an issue for me because mainly I do landscape, architecture, macro photography, so I don't have the need for a mechanical shutter right away. And even I would do my macro stacks in electronical shutter anyway, because you might as well have 100, 200, 300 images. So I don't want to do that much stress on the camera. The other problem, which was mentioned in other reviews, that was the rolling shutter. That isn't either an issue for me, at least so far, because I don't like running around moving the camera or panning the camera like that to convince you that the camera has a little bit of rolling shutter issues. The lack of a viewfinder was something I had to get used to because you shoot like with a smartphone sort of, and in the beginning when I got this camera I just picked it up like this to shoot, and then I suddenly occurred, okay, there's no viewfinder, you have it to do it by the monitor. With this kind of photography, there is of course a problem in very bright sunlight for image composition and so on when checking this on the monitor, even if you selected the bright monitor mode. That is sometimes a problem, okay, but most of the time I'm really happy with this, even though you got here the tilting monitor, so you have the chance to get the image here on the monitor out of the direct, very bright sunlight. The camera, of course, is pretty small here, the 1840 kit lens, which is by the way, a beautiful lens, and of course there is sort of a grip missing on the Lumix S9, so you have to have a little bit more grip. So therefore I bought the small rig grip and mounted it right away. The image quality of the 1840 is very good, compatible or comparable to the 20 to 16 millimeter on the Lumix S5 I first got. And the 18mm is a little bit wider, doesn't sound that much, 2mm difference in focal length, but let's say in architecture and maybe sometimes in landscape, that's pretty much of a big difference, and that's a pretty interesting lens. On the other hand, the maximum aperture of 4.5 at 18mm, or even worth f6.3 in the long end, is somewhat limiting. But for example, on my last vacation in Italy, I took most of my photographs with this combination, the Lumix S9 and the 1840. Only in, let's say, darker churches and so on, I was glad that I had my 16 to 28 2.8 Sigma lens with me, so I didn't have to crank up the ISO that much as I would have here with a 4.5 maximum aperture on the kit lens here on the 1840. In some YouTube videos, they mention that the new aspect ratio of 64 to 24 as a novelty, and even though it's a pretty interesting aspect ratio, if you shoot in RAW, you see the aspect ratio right away and as soon as you import those pictures. But if you shoot in RAW, you can either reset this aspect ratio or move the 64 by 24 cut or crop in the picture accordingly. But it's not a new aspect ratio because I already had that in the Lumix S5. So that's already supported image format or aspect ratios in most Lumix cameras. On the other hand, the Lumix S9 is marketed as a content creator camera, not for image processing, just for taking a picture, import it into a smartphone, and then right away post it on social media like Instagram, TikTok, and so on. But I never really got warm with the Lumix LAB app. The first reason is I used it mainly on my vacation, for example, to record GPS coordinates with this and insert them into the images. But when I later on imported the images into Lightroom, I saw that a couple of those images weren't GPS tagged, even though I had my smartphone right in the bag or in the pocket in my jacket or so on. So maybe that's a problem. So I stick to the usual workflow I have. I record the GPS track with a different app on my smartphone, and then later on I will GPS tag the photos in Lightroom by importing this GPS track, and by that way I can use it for different cameras which I couldn't use if I would stick to the Bluetooth connection here with the Lumix LAB app. I really haven't used the LUT system in the Lumix LAB app at all so far, because mostly I shoot in RAW, of course, and the app can't do anything with RAW files, so at least you have to shoot a combination of RAW and JPEG images. And then there's another problem. If you want to apply LUTs to the images, you have to pay attention to what for the LUTs or which picture profile the LUT is based on. Most of those LUTs you can download from Panasonic or other creators are based on the vlog picture profile, and I think mostly you don't use that in photography. You might as well use a standard profile in photography, but then you have to pay attention between the basic picture style and the LUT you want to apply to a picture, on which picture style this is based on. But so far I can say, after half a year of experience with the Lumix S9, it's a fantastic, very well equipped and feature-rich camera, and it's very compact. And if you consider the price of this, it's a full frame camera, and I think those two restrictions or limitations, talking about the mechanical shutter and the missing viewfinder and so on, aren't really that much of an issue. So I think you get a fantastic camera for that price in the market. I use the Lumix S9 Primer as a second camera, both for photography and video. And I also shoot B-roll with this camera, which works out very well. But of course, I did already some YouTube videos here I posted. They were done with the Lumix S9 as a cam, so I didn't have a second camera on the in the studio, and that worked out very well. And you even can shoot open gate, which is like the S5 2X in 4.0, and that's mostly enough for YouTube videos. Okay, that was my monthly or 6 months review on the Lumix S9. And if you find this video useful, you might think about placing a like on the video, and of course you would help my channel if you subscribe this channel. But then don't forget to hit the bell so you got a notification every time I upload a new video. Okay, that was my little review on the Lumix S9. And all I have to say is till the next time, ciao, tux och.